when you're off on a day's dead baiting for pike, it does pay you to take as much bait as you can manage, really, because you just don't know whether the pike are going to be really feeding hard. You know, you don't want to be in a situation where you run out of bait. So have plenty of bait with you. I like to keep my bait in one of these insulated bags. This one's actually designed for carp bait. You can see it's got all the compartments for different carp flavours, but it's great for pike fishing as well. Let's have a look what I've got in there. Well, these are my old standbys, the ones that I've got great faith in on gravel pits like this. In fact, most still waters and rivers, when I'm fishing for pike, I wouldn't be without mackerel and herring. And then if the good old standbys don't work, I like to take something a little bit different. Didn't have time to go to the tackle shop this morning, but I've had a good rummage around the freezer at home, and at the bottom I found these brown trout. I don't think the pike see many of them, so if I'm not catching on the simple baits like herring and mackerel, I'm going to put out a brown trout. And then right at the bottom of the freezer I found some smelts. These have seen better days, but when they thaw out they're going to make good baits too. And finally, these really are looking a bit tatty, but these are lamprey, and pike just love them. Even when they're old and stale like this, when they thaw out, the pike are still going to have them. So there we are, we've got a good selection of baits. We've got some standard baits and we've got some more exotic baits, and I'm sure if I've got an array of baits like that for the day, if I don't catch, well, I need my head looking at. You know, when I'm out on the bank I see dead baits rigged in all sorts of weird and strange ways, and if you don't get it right you're going to get them flying off the hooks and you're not going to strike effectively. So let me show you the way I do it. It really is very, very simple once you've done it a few times. Well, here I'm going to rig up a half herring, and most other dead baits are going to be rigged exactly the same way. You'll notice first of all that the bait, it's just starting to thaw out, it's sort of semi-frozen, and I want it to be as stiff as possible so that it casts nice and straight and accurate. If you let it thaw out too much, it's going to flap all over the place when you cast it. Now all you do is you take the top treble of your trace and get it in the wrist of the tail, get one of the points with a barb well into the wrist of the tail, get through the bone, and that hook really is taking the main thrust of the cast. And now the second hook is simply hooked down the flank. I like to find the point that's got the barb on a semi-barbless hook, dig that into the flank, leaving the two barbless points exposed. And there it is, it's ready to cast. And as I say, because it's semi-frozen, it's still quite stiff, it's going to cast very straight and it's going to go a long way. Quite often the dead bait will come out of the pack all ready to rig and ready to cast, but there's a couple of things you can do just to make the bait a little bit better. One thing I like to do is just adjust the length. I think this herring's just a little bit too long, so I'm just going to tidy the end up a little bit and make it a little bit more streamlined so it casts better. And the other thing I'm going to do is just bodge it with the knife a few times, just to let out a bit more of the flavour and the juices. And of course that little bit there, I can catapult it out and it's going to act as a ground bait for the pike. So there we are, all ready to cast and hopefully catch a fish.